Love it or hate it, The Last of Us Season 2 is doing a lot with the characters and themes of the show, and we're going to break them all down. So let's just get into it. Now, I am so happy that they introduced the Spores back into the Last of Us universe. I do have some questions about it, though, because there's some things but let's talk about it. I love them bringing back the Spores because it adds a lot of tension. But if they were going to bring them back this season, they should have did it before. For y'all that didn't play the game, there was a scene where Ellie's mask breaks, and like that's essentially how Dina finds out she's immune, which was a great scene. But also leading up to Nora going down into the basement, which we see later on in this episode, I feel like it would have hit harder if there was some buildup of the Spores and trying to stay away from the Spores and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even having this scene at the very beginning earlier in the season, and you're kind of wondering what was in that basement, so that when Nora actually goes down there, it's like, oh my god, right? I think there just could have been more buildup of introducing the Spores. Secondly, we all kind of want to know, why is it just in the basement of this hospital that the Spores exist? Why is that? Why are they nowhere else? So I hope they explore the mechanic of that and why we haven't seen them anywhere else in this world yet. But also I want to say, these are the scenes that work for this show the best, in my opinion, where they take things that were in the game and give them some backstory, add even more to it, right? I wish this show would do more of that. Like last season with the Bill and Frank episode, actually going into their relationship and all that was really cool. Like, that's just where this show shines, and they should stick to that more. By the way, if you're liking this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, because I drop these every single week if you want to keep seeing these breakdowns and have them show up in your feed. Now, we got to talk about Dina for a minute, because Dina has been a real showstopper in this season, but in this episode, it leads to a problem for me. So in this scene, we have Dina and Ellie, and Dina's figuring out where the WLF is and all this kind of stuff. And this scene has caused a lot of division among the fans. It seems that they're making Ellie feel very useless, clueless, not knowing how to survive, and they're giving all of those skills to Dina. And although it makes Dina's character amazing, Ellie as a character feels extremely flat this season, where it seems like they're giving more layers to Dina and Tommy and Jesse. It feels like they're taking so much away from Ellie's character, and I'm not 100% sure why they would do that. They're like fleshing out the world everywhere else except with Ellie. In a way, this episode felt like more of Dina's episode of growth than Ellie's, in a way, because we get Dina's backstory. Dina's really the motivation and the energy behind everything in this episode. So it's just, Dina's so centered in this episode. It's wild, because it's supposed to be the episode where Ellie kind of reaches this breaking point, which she does, definitely. And Bella Ramsey was amazing in that scene. But the writing for Ellie has just been not good, in my personal opinion, this season. Like, this scene right here specifically does a gigantic disservice to Ellie. So in this scene, Dina's talking about what happened with her family, and that she would chase down the people that killed her family if she could, so trying to motivate Ellie to keep going. The reason why that really is such a detriment to Ellie's character is Ellie is so focused on getting Abby, she makes terrible decisions from that place. Having Dina need to be able to convince her to keep going is odd. It seems as if Dina cares more about getting vengeance for Joel than Ellie does. But once again, this is a great scene for Dina. Like, Dina's the best part of the show, in my opinion. And it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? But she is. Like, at this point, I want a Dina spinoff, for real. Because, hey, like I said, best part of the show. I will say, in that scene right there, we can see Ellie's, rage bubbling up, but she's suppressing it, right? And I think what they're going for in the show is that Ellie has been suppressing her anger, and then it just all comes out when she starts, beating up Nora at the end. But to me, we never got to the breaking point where we saw that she was having such a hard time holding it in, right? A better way to show a breaking point of Ellie's vengeance would have been doing something that goes against Dina. So for example, in the forest, maybe it was something where it would have been a detriment for Dina if Ellie stayed in the forest, right? But Ellie's like, no, I got things to do, and then just like leaves Dina, right? Something like that, where you can see how obsessed she is with trying to get to Abby, right?
You shouldn't have come. I shouldn't have dragged you here. You're having a fucking baby. What am I doing? Dina, do you want to go back? I'll take you back. You don't need to do this with me.
I am glad Ellie had that moment of, hey, like, what am I actually doing here? Because in the last episode when Dina said she was pregnant, Ellie was just all happy and like, yay. I was like, hold on now. Like, let's look at these circumstances here. Like, shouldn't you be a little freaked out? So I'm glad that we got that in this episode at least. Now, I need to bring this up. Y'all, I'm sorry for being somewhat negative so far. This episode just made me question a lot of things, and I'm questioning this scene right here that I'm about to show you too.
I'm gonna take a peek. Yeah, you should do that because you're the one who can't get infected. So we've got a few strays and a couple clickers. We can handle that. We've done it like a million times. Yeah, we'll be okay.
Okay, first, there now seems to be this running thing that Ellie is no longer scared of clickers and things like that because she can't be infected. Thing is, she can still die from them, right? She treats the bites like they're like mosquito bites, which is wild. So I don't like how they're kind of getting, and the reason why I don't like that is they're getting rid of the tension of like the worrying about Ellie getting bit, right? We still need to worry about that because they can still kill her, right? Also, just wanted to let you know you can watch this ad-free and get other exclusive videos and other benefits if you join the Foster fam on Patreon. No pressure. I'd love to see you in there. There's a community of us that love to talk shows, break them down, all that kind of stuff. Secondly, something I've noticed this season. So Dina there says, you know, they've taken out a few clickers millions of times, all that kind of stuff. I feel like Ellie hasn't really killed anything this season, really. I think there was like the clicker in episode 1 or 2, few and far between, right? And I feel like Ellie because the way they open the show, Ellie's doing the training with the guy and all that to show, you know, this age, you know, the time jump, and that she's been, you know, practicing and getting stronger and all this kind of stuff. And we haven't been able to see that in this season. Like, Ellie's supposed to be able to just take people out. Now, I know she can't go up against a whole army, but it seems like anytime there's conflict in this season, they're just running away, right? Because when we have seen infected this season, it's always been hordes, so they're running away from that. When they run into the WLF, it's always, you know, they're outnumbered and they can't take everybody out. And so there hasn't been any stealthiness either as far as her picking people off from a distance with like a bow and arrow or a gun or nothing. So it's like, I don't like how they're just constantly running away, which they end up doing here. And it's Jesse, the one that for some reason could just take out all the stalkers like it's nothing. Yeah, Jesse was like Superman this episode. He kills all the stalkers by himself. Then somehow, even though they were trapped in the forest, he just picks up Dina and runs away and gets away from the scars and the WLF, I guess. He's a Superman.
Dina, I can get bit a lot. You can't. Do as I say.
Like, what do you mean you can get bit a lot? Like, they're still gonna injure you and kill you. Like, in the video game, if you run into a clicker, you die, right? So it's just, yeah, I don't know why they're treating that like it's not a threat. So I don't know if they were trying to like mimic Joel, like maybe Ellie thinking it's Joel. And the reason I'm saying that is because the way that Jesse held out his hand to pick her up mirrors almost the same way that Joel helped pick Abby up when she was running away from all the infected earlier. Yeah, so I don't know if that's like if Ellie was like mistaking Jesse for Joel or something. I don't know. More running away. So this scene with the scars, I'm glad they have something like this in here. The reason why is because when they got introduced, they seemed non-menacing at all. Now they seem extremely menacing, which is how they're supposed to feel in the game and all that kind of stuff. So glad they did this scene and show that they're like not to be messed with, like they're wild. But yeah, I mean, somehow, even though they were trapped in the forest because the WLF, and then now you have the scars looking for you, somehow Jesse was still able to pick Dina up and leave, which that felt like an easy, simple writing way to get them out of the picture so Ellie can just go to the hospital by herself. I don't know. Now, obviously, this right here, highlight of the entire episode, this whole sequence. I mean, this is one of the highlights of the video game too. Probably one of the best video game sequences ever. I think they did an amazing job depicting the spores in this episode. Just fantastic. It seemed gross. Kind of remind me of Pirates of the Caribbean with all the people on the Davy Jones ship like stuck to the walls. But yeah, I thought they did a great job showing that. Love that.
Including the only fucking person alive that can make a cure from you. That was Abby's father.
What's interesting is in the game, Ellie never finds out that Joel killed Abby's father. She understands that, you know, she's a Firefly from that hospital and knows that she's taking revenge out on Joel because of that. But I feel like that does give it a different dynamic for Ellie to know that it was Abby's dad. And I wonder if that's going to change anything in the show compared to the game as far as how Ellie feels.
Where's Abby?
Another thing I'm curious about here is the way that Bella Ramsey is playing this is a little different than the game, where in the game, everything Ellie's doing feels like she doesn't want to be doing anything she's doing, but she's just so driven by her anger and depression and wanting vengeance, all this kind of stuff. And she like knows she's doing something bad, but does it anyway. This seems more like Bella Ramsey's going for Ellie being just like just unstable, just gone, just completely taken over. And I'm curious to see how that plays moving forward too. I also feel like this show is running into a problem of the writers being afraid to make the audience hate Ellie or like have Ellie be unlikable. And so they're kind of taking those qualities away from her. I'm not necessarily sure why they're doing that. Now, with the way this episode ends, I have some theories and questions about next week. So no worries, this isn't spoilers, but the fact that next week the whole entire episode is going to be this flashback of Joel and Ellie, and it's going to be a great episode because that flashback's amazing. That leaves us one episode in the finale. There's a lot that has to be done to get to the point that I think they're going to get to in the game to end it. Because for those that haven't played the game, they're splitting the game up in 2 seasons basically. And there's this halfway point in the game where I'm pretty sure that's what the finale is going to end at. But I don't know how we're getting there in one episode. So the finale might be extremely rushed. I was waiting to form my opinion on how much I'm liking this show. You know, I wanted to wait towards the end of the season till I kind of solidified my opinion. I think the show's okay. I think as a video game adaptation, it's not really that great at all. I think as a show on its own, it's pretty good. It's all right. I think the first season was amazing, like fantastic. And the reason why is because as I was watching the first season, I felt watching the show how I felt playing the game. It's more emotional based for me, not logic. And the second season so far, I don't get the same feeling watching the show that I did playing the game. The game is way more serious and dark, and just the tone is way different from the show to the game, like way different. 2 weeks left. Let's see how they finish off this season. Until next week, I'll see y'all.